Good morning, welcome back to my channel. It's the 23rd of August 2025 and it's about 8:45. Kicking off with what's for the basket. This morning it's Taylor's decaf coffee bags. So just something nice and simple this week. Before I do the rest of my video, I want to share with you things that I use for calcium. We're reminded by Slimming World that our 8 choices are to give us enough calcium. Well, this first thing that I use, Alpro Greek style yogurt, which is soya yogurt, 400 grams and it's 2 sins. And I have a whole one of these for my breakfast with 50 grams of all bran in. Leave it overnight, it's lovely. This contains 60% of my daily calcium needs, if I have the whole tub. This, is that the right way around?
Yeah.
This is Aldi's no sugars oat milk. Now 300 mils of this is an A choice, but I have 600 mils a day, and that contains 90% of my daily calcium needs. So the two combined are 150% of my daily calcium needs. Now, some people might say, oh, but that's fortified food. Well, it doesn't matter, it's calcium. And I don't choose to get it from dairy because I wouldn't get enough if I actually had to get it from dairy. And I know there's calcium in a lot of other things, you know, like green veg and leafy veg and stuff like that. But I don't want to be messing around worrying about that and weighing dark green veg and things. So for me, that's my insurance. I know that that gives me 150% of my calcium needs, and those things are something I eat or drink every day. Right, word of affirmation this week is compassion. And this ties into the week that I've had. We have an elderly friend who's ill at the moment. I touched on it a couple of weeks ago when I had to get the police to break into his house. And he's been in hospital for a couple of weeks and now he's in a rehab unit. And it's involved us in something every day this week. And I'm not griping about that because we really care about this old man. But it's reminded me of all the strain of last year when my friend was really, really poorly. And the fact that I took on the responsibilities and pushed them down with food. And I can't do that anymore. So I've had to learn this week to have compassion for him, which is the right thing to have, but also to have some compassion for myself. Otherwise, Joe and I would have been, well, I'd have been knocking 7 bells out of something. It wouldn't have been Joe probably, but I would not have been able to cope with my emotions. So I've had to allow myself grace, and I've had to have compassion with myself when I've wanted to just explode at either the NHS or social service type things, because we have had a fabulous NHS and everything in this country, and it's not the same as it was 5 or 10 years ago. I don't think anybody could claim that. But the frustration I have is born of the fact that they are so busy that they say they will do things and they don't get done. And I'm a Virgo. I'm a very much precise, proactive, that needs doing and it needs doing now type person. And when you're working with people who are so overloaded that they say, yes, we'll do this, yes, we're going to do that, and then you discover the best part of 2 weeks later that none of it has happened, that builds up such frustration in me. I'm like a volcano waiting to erupt. And so the old habit would have been, stuff it down with food. Don't feel those emotions. You can't cope with those emotions. Stuff them down with food. Well, I'm really grateful to say that because of Slimming World and the weight I've lost and the way I feel about myself today, I don't have to do that anymore. So although we've had a tough week, really, it's been every day this week, and it has been tough on occasions, I haven't had that desire to stuff anything down with food. I probably was a bit short with my husband yesterday, but I think he understands why. Yeah, so compassion. It's not only about having compassion for others, sometimes we need to have compassion for ourselves. Right, I think I've got 2 or 3 other things on my list, Joe, haven't I?
Yeah, the consultant statement of guarantee.
Yes, this is a new thing in Slimming World. Have you noticed when you go into a Slimming World meeting now, it's pretty much by the book, by the verse, shall we say. So they start off a meeting and they thank their social team. God, I've been around group 50 years, very rarely do you hear that. But now it's what they have to do. And in my mind, that is really nice because we've got a beautiful social team in our group. Really lovely people. But when you do it with the same words every week, and I'm the sort of person who notices things like that, lots of people wouldn't. But when you do it with the same words in the same place every week, it stops sounding so genuine. And my consultant is genuine. I'm not saying she doesn't sound genuine. She does. But the same statement every week loses its validity. And you know, Slimming World have told you to say that. Come on, be yourself. You're better than that. I find those sort of things a bit like, I just want to roll my eyes. So one of the statements that people are hearing in group, and I know they are because people have told me, and I've heard it myself, is, Shell will relate to this because she's had it quoted directly at her. If you stick to plan 100%, you are guaranteed, read that as if it's in capitals, block capitals, you are guaranteed a weight loss. Well, my response to that is bullshit. You're not guaranteed anything in life. You're really not. And we are not guaranteed a weight loss every week that we stick to plan. I've been on plan consistently 100% for over 450 days. I've had 5 gains in that time. I've had probably 6 maintains. But Joe will support me in this, I know, won't you, Joe?
Mm.
I am on plan every day, aren't I?
Yeah.
Absolutely, and I love it. I'm not griping about that. I love it. It's what I want to be. I'm eating the food I love. I'm loving the food I eat. I get very excited by my meals because I don't think, oh Christ, not that again. So in that time, can somebody explain to me if Slimming World are guaranteeing me a weight loss? Why have I had 11 occasions in 66 weeks where I've had either a maintain or a gain? Because that doesn't make sense to me. So they're chatting out these phrases, they're coming up with these wow ideas. But please, Slimming World, make it the truth, not fantasy. Because a fortnight ago, I went into group, I'd had a lovely week of food, I'd had a lovely week on plan, I'd walked at least 15,000 steps a day, which is not to lose weight, it's because we enjoy doing it, we love walking. We've been walking for 10 years now. So I'd done that, I'd been to the gym 3 times, because only this week I've stepped up to 4 times. Been to the gym 3 times, my food was totally on point. And I went into group and I got on the scales and I gained a pound. Now, I didn't want to keep the scales, I didn't want to stand there and blaspheme, but I was disappointed because that did not reflect the kind of week I'd had. But there is no explaining it because I'm sure everybody watching this video could say, yeah, that's happened to me on occasions. It does happen. I'm sure it's happened to my consultant, I'm sure it's happened to your consultant. So how can they stand there and say, if you stick to this plan 100%, you are guaranteed a weight loss? No, you're not. And if you get one, please don't feel like a failure. Please don't beat yourself up. And for God's sake, don't eat over it. Because the old me would have done that as well. Not today. Not today. Yeah, so I needed to share that. I have spoken with my consultant, shared my feelings over it. And I think it's something if my consultant says it again in group, which she might do because she's supposed to, then I would just kind of put my hand up and say, can we discuss that as a group? Can we discuss how many of us have found that not to be the case? Because now we are supposed to discuss in group food optimising. That's the point of the new group setup, that it opens up time for us to discuss food optimising. Not school holidays, not where you've been for your holidays and all that, but food optimising. And if we are food optimising, I still say we are never guaranteed a weight loss. Okay? That's not a gripe about Slimming World, it's a just, let's get real, guys. Yeah. Next one, Joe.
Right, Slimmer of the Week.
Yeah, I'm not having a pop at Slimming World this week. I'm really not. But this is what happened to me this week, and this is why I'm relaying the story to you. I'm not talking about somebody else's experience, I'm talking about my experiences. Okay. Is that the right way up?
It's upside down.
Trust me.
Yeah.
Okay, this week I got Slimmer of the Week. Nobody in that room was more surprised than me. Okay? There was a lovely lady, well, our group's full of lovely ladies. There was a lovely lady sitting over to my left, and I think she lost 5 pounds. Yeah. I'm dropping hints here. She lost 5 pounds. I got Slimmer of the Week. Are you thinking, good God, Jane, how did you lose 6 pounds or 7 pounds this week? Because that's unrealistic in my way of doing the plan. That's never going to happen to me. It never has, it never will. Even my first week back on plan, I lose £1.50 pound. I'm not chasing big losses because my body doesn't work that way. But I got Slimmer of the Week. I lost £1 this week and I got Slimmer of the Week. I'm never looking for this certificate. It's not really important to me to get Slimmer of the Week. I don't think I'm ever going to get Slimmer of the Month again. I think I've had it once in this group, very early days. Now, how did I get Slimmer of the Week with a £1 loss? Because the young lady in question, and I'm not picking on her, I'm not naming her, I'm just using this as an example, I'd had a very small gain the previous week. Not because she doesn't work the plan, because she does. She's an absolute inspiration in our group. Because she'd had a very, very small gain last week and I'd had a loss, I got this. Now that's fine, she wouldn't quibble about it. It wouldn't even enter her head, but it enters mine because I'm thinking, that says Slimmer of the Week. It doesn't say Slimmer of the Fortnight. Should it really matter? Say I'd gone in, like I did the week before last, with a gain. No explanation of why I had that gain. But I just carried on, sticking to plan, doing my thing. And last week I lost £0.5, doing exactly what I'd done the week before. This week I lost £1, doing exactly what I've done for the last 65 weeks. But I find it really strange. I was 100% on plan and got a gain, which then excludes me from Slimmer of the Week the following week. Why? I would love to see that change, so that if somebody came in this week with an unexpected £0.5 gain, after maybe not even being 100% on plan, I mean, if you've been away for a week's holiday or a fortnight's holiday, or in our case, in our group, some people go on cruises or whatever, and you come back with a £0.5 gain, which I've seen happen, I'd think, bloody hell, that's amazing. But the following week, they might lose the most weight in the group and be excluded from getting this. I think it's not just about saying you're a superstar because you lost. I think it's about saying you, as a member, have had a fabulous week, you've food optimised, you've lost the most weight in the group this week, you deserve to get this. You deserve the recognition. So I'm not well, I suppose I am in a way. I'm not having a gripe, I'm not knocking Slimming World, because Slimming World works. I'll be the first person to say that. It absolutely works if you work it, but it won't if you don't. But I just felt, only me, nobody else in the room would have noticed, I felt uncomfortable taking this with a £1 weight loss. And getting a big clap, because aren't you clever? No, I'm just doing what I always do. I'm just living this lifestyle. Anybody else ever experienced that feeling? Anybody else agree with me that it should be what you've done this week? Because you can still, the young lady in question, her £5 will go towards getting the Slimmer of the Month award. So it counts for something there. Do they work that out by knocking off any gains, or is it just what you've lost? I don't even know how that works. But anyway, that's my 5 worth. This didn't mean anything to me because it didn't feel deserved when somebody else had done so much better. Opinions, please, in the bit below. Right. Anything else?
Chicken or egg.
Oh yeah, this is my last bit. Been looking at protein because now I'm going to the gym and I'm learning more about what growing muscle in your body can do for you, as in even at rest your metabolism will be better if you've got muscle. Now when I lost weight before and I was at Target for years, I was a bit little old lady with skinny fat. I didn't have any muscle because I didn't think about it. All I was bothered about was the number on the scales and the dress size. This time I'm not so bothered about the number on the scales, and I know dress sizes are a joke anyway. So my focus is different, and I'm trying to look at being healthier. And if being healthier means focusing not just on speed food and sin values, but it means focusing on getting enough calcium. It means getting enough fibre without overdoing the fibre and ending up constipated like I can do. It means looking at the amount of protein I eat. Now, I've worked this plan as a vegan, I've worked this plan as a vegetarian, and I've naturally come back to where I like the vegetarian lifestyle. Vegan is probably I find that a bit probably too hard for me because I don't have the imagination to be a vegan, I don't think, always. But I'm finding that I need more protein. I need it for the satiation, but I also need it to repair muscle. So if I'm going to start to try and build muscle gets torn and needs repairing, and what repairs it is protein. So that's my logic. So I was looking at, over a few weeks, trying to eat eggs. And I don't eat eggs naturally because they actually, if I'm honest, unless they're scrambled, they repulse me. I don't like the white, and the white is where the protein is. I could quite happily eat boiled egg yolks, but the white actually gives me it's not for me. And I've never been much of a chicken eater.
No.
I would have chicken probably once a month. But I've had to make a decision. Where am I going to get my proteins from and the amount of protein I need? I would say I need probably 100, 120 grams a day. Where am I going to get it from? And I'm not into pulses and beans and things. I like them, but I couldn't eat enough of them to get enough protein. And I'm not a fan of corn, and I'm always quite offended by the fact that a lot of the vegans things say chicken on them or beef on them or whatever. I'm like, oh, for goodness sake, these people deserve to have their own words. Why do they have to buy something that says chicken on it? In fact, watch Shell's video and look at the chicken wing replacements that she showed yesterday, because that repulsed me, and I'm not a vegan. So I've always struggled with that. I think, well, they're not. If you're a vegan, you shouldn't have to call things chicken and beef and tuna, or I don't know. It's just me. I'm funny. So I started to eat chicken. because 100 grams of cooked chicken breast has 27 grams of protein. Not the 100 grams I thought it was, because I was daft enough to think 100 grams of chicken was 100 grams of protein. But no, 100 grams of cooked chicken breast has 100 grams of protein. So if I try to have 200 grams of chicken breast, I'm getting in excess of 50 grams of protein. I'm sure there's quite a bit of protein in the soy yogurt, Joe, the Greek yogurt. Yeah?
Yeah.
Things like that. I need the protein, so I'm going to go with the flow to get it. I don't eat beef, I don't eat pork, so poor old chicken. But I've chosen the mother, not the baby. In our family, if you had a chicken salad with a boiled egg on it, they used to call it the mother and baby salad. That's stuck in my head. Perhaps that's why I don't like eggs very much. But yeah, I'm chasing protein to help me out at the gym and to aid my recovery, and so far it's working. It's not where I get my energy from, it's where I get my recovery from. I get my energy from carbs. Yeah. So all in all, even though it's been a tough week, it's not been unnecessarily unpleasant. We've had some good times, we've had some good laughs, we've had some good walks. We're going to the gym this morning, we'll be going tomorrow morning. We're doing 4 mornings a week now. We only do, well, I have a set of exercises, a routine. We go in and we do the routine. And it can take 55 minutes, it can take an hour and 10. It depends if somebody else is using the machine you need. You just have to learn patience, which is what I keep reminding myself, because I want that machine now. Why can't they get off it? I have no patience. But it's good, and the more I go to the gym, the more I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it. And I said to Joe on Wednesday and Thursday morning when we walked out and we were headed off to go straight to something else, I said to him, my God, that goes so quickly. You don't realise, once you're actually in there and you're working out, an hour's gone like that. But I think that's because I'm enjoying it. The other thing we've started to do is when we go to the gym, we now don't go up in the lift, we walk up the stairs. Because we live in a bungalow, so we don't get a lot of opportunities to walk up 3 flights of stairs. So that's my new ruling this week. When I go to the gym, I walk up the stairs. When I've finished, come down in the lift. So little things, all those little things, really make a difference. So there you are, that's my week. I bought some 3 kilogram weights at home this week because at the gym I want to move up to doing the next weight in side raisers, but their weights go from 2 kilograms to 4. And at the moment 4 is just that bit too much. I can use 4 kilograms for some exercises, but not for side raisers. So I bought myself some 3 kilogram weights for side raisers. And yeah, I still can't emphasise how good it is to find an exercise you love alongside your weight loss. And please focus on health and fitness. Don't just get caught up in the number on the scales like I did for years, because it won't always bring you happiness. You have to find peace of mind in all of it. Have a great week, everybody, and we'll see you next weekend.